No one in the glowing, crystal-lit restaurant expected anything unusual that night. The chandeliers shimmered. Soft piano music floated through the air. Expensive suits, quiet laughter, and the clink of fine glassware filled the room. At table 7 sat a man who controlled rooms without even trying. A man people feared. A man who never showed weakness. Grant Whitmore. Tonight was supposed to be his biggest win. A multi-million-dollar deal sat in front of him. Papers neatly arranged, signatures just seconds away. His investors leaned forward, ready. Everything was perfect, until it wasn't. A soft voice broke through the atmosphere. "Excuse me," coming through. Grant barely looked up at first, but then something shifted, a feeling he couldn't explain. His eyes lifted, and the world stopped. The tray in the woman's hands trembled. Her steps were careful, slow, like every movement hurt. Her hair was tied back loosely. Her face looked thinner than he remembered, tired, worn. But it wasn't just that. It was her stomach, round, heavy, 8 months pregnant. Grant's chest tightened instantly. Elena, the name escaped his lips before he could stop it. The woman froze. For a moment, she didn't turn. Like maybe if she stayed still, reality wouldn't catch up. Then slowly, she faced him. And there it was, the past, standing right in front of him. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just looked at him quietly. "Please," she whispered, barely audible. "Not here." But it was already too late. Grant pushed his chair back, so hard it scraped loudly across the marble floor. Every conversation in the restaurant faded. People noticed. They always noticed power. And tonight, something was wrong. Grant stepped closer, his voice low, sharp. "Is that baby mine?" A few nearby guests stiffened. Phones subtly lifted. Everyone pretending not to listen, while hearing everything. Elena's hand instinctively moved to her stomach. Protective, afraid. "Grant," she said softly, "don't do this." But his mind was already racing. Because this wasn't how things ended. Not in his memory. In his memory, she left, just like that. One suitcase. One cold explanation. "I'm leaving," she had said, standing in their kitchen. "For who?" he had demanded. Her answer had shattered something inside him. "There's someone else in Europe. He can give me a life you never will." He didn't believe her. Not for a second. But he signed the papers anyway. Because part of him hoped she'd stop him. She didn't. She walked out and never came back. That was the day Grant changed. The day he became untouchable, unbreakable, cold. And now here she was. Not in Europe. Not with another man. But here, working as a waitress. Pregnant. Exhausted. Real. "It's not yours," Elena said quickly. Too quickly. Grant didn't believe her. Not even a little. Before he could respond, a voice cut through the tension. Loud. Harsh. "Are you planning to stand there all night?" A man in a sharp suit approached. The manager. His expression was already annoyed. "You're here to work, not cause scenes," he snapped. Elena straightened slightly. "I am working," she said quietly. The man scoffed, glancing at her stomach. "You can barely carry a tray. One mistake and we're finished." The words hit harder than they should have, because of how casually he said them, because of how normal it sounded, like this wasn't the first time. Elena stepped back slightly, trying to stay small, invisible. The tray in her hands tilted, glasses sliding. Grant moved instantly. His hand caught it before anything fell. The entire restaurant watched now, silent. Grant slowly set the tray down, then looked at the manager, and the temperature in the room dropped. "Say that again," Grant said quietly. The manager hesitated. He recognized him now. Everyone did. But pride didn't let him step back. "This is my employee," he said. "My rules." Grant stepped closer. Calm. Too calm. "What's your name?" "Derek." Grant nodded once, like he'd just stored the information. Then he spoke. "You have 2 options." Derek swallowed. "You apologize to her. Right now. Or..." Grant's eyes didn't blink. "Or this place won't belong to you by tomorrow." Elena grabbed Grant's sleeve. "Stop," she whispered urgently. Please. But he didn't look at her. Something inside him had already shifted, and it wasn't going back. Elena suddenly pulled away. She turned and rushed toward the back. Through the kitchen, out the rear door. Cold air hit her face as she stepped into the alley, her breathing uneven, her body shaking. She leaned against the wall, one hand holding her stomach. Just breathe, just breathe. But she couldn't. Footsteps followed behind her. Fast, controlled. Elena! She closed her eyes. Of course he followed. Of course he didn't let go. He never did. Grant stopped a few feet away. Up close, it was worse. Much worse. Her hands were rough, cracked, her face pale, her body barely holding itself together. What happened to you? He asked quietly. She laughed bitterly. I survived. He looked at her stomach again, then back at her. Tell me the truth. Silence. Is that baby mine? Her lips trembled. For a moment, she almost broke. But then, no. The word came out fast. Sharp, like a shield. Grant stared at her. Then something changed in his expression. Not anger, not pain. Something colder. Fine, he said. He pulled out his phone. Elena's eyes widened. What are you doing? Finding the truth. He made one call. Short, direct, everything on her. Last 9 months. He ended it, then looked at her. You don't want to tell me? Then I'll find out myself. Minutes later, the truth came, and it hit harder than anything he expected. She never left the city. There was no other man, no Europe, no new life, just a tiny apartment. Debt and fear. 2 names kept appearing. Dangerous names. Men who hated Grant. Men who wanted to destroy him. They had threatened her, forced her to leave, forced her to lie. She paid them with everything she had, sold her jewelry, worked nonstop, endured everything, just to protect him. Grant stood frozen, his chest tight, his breathing heavy. She didn't betray him. She sacrificed everything. He ran back into the alley. Elena! He found her on the ground, collapsed, her body shaking. Elena! Hey, look at me. My head, she whispered. I can't. Grant's heart dropped. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He called emergency services immediately, his voice sharp, urgent. She tried to stop him. Don't they'll... Enough, he said firmly. You're not alone anymore. At the hospital, everything moved fast. Too fast. Doctors, machines, voices, severe condition, emergency surgery, high risk. Grant stood there, helpless, for the first time in years. And it broke him. Hours later, a nurse walked out. You have a son. Grant almost collapsed. Relief hit him hard, but it wasn't over. Elena, she's stable for now. Days passed. The baby stayed in intensive care. Tiny, fighting. Elena slowly recovered. Weak but alive. Grant never left. Not once. He sat beside the incubator, watching, waiting, learning what truly mattered. One night, Elena spoke softly. I didn't think you'd want him. Grant looked at her, his voice quiet but certain. I want everything I almost lost. And something changed in him. Completely. He didn't throw parties, didn't chase headlines. Instead, he made calls. Quiet ones. Hospitals got better equipment. Families got help. Real change. Not for attention, but because now he understood. Weeks later, the baby finally breathed on his own. Grant stood there, tears in his eyes. That's my son. And across the street, something else changed too. The old restaurant was gone, replaced by something new. Simple, warm, human. Elena looked at the sign, confused. You did this? Grant nodded. No more fear. No more humiliation. She looked at him. Why my name? He smiled slightly. Because you were stronger than all of us. That night, they stood together. Not perfect, not healed completely, but real, for the first time in years. Some people walk into your life and leave damage. Others walk away to protect you. And sometimes the truth comes too late. But not always. Because as long as there's time, there's still a chance to fix what was broken.